picture this. You have a city run by a shadow queen, like a woman who completely controls the governor, the lucrative government contracts, and just the entirety of high society.
Right, the puppet master.
Exactly. Now, put her up against a barefoot, penniless rebel who commands the streets, who wins when absolute corrupt power collides with radical, unfiltered honesty.
I mean, on paper, the rebel doesn't stand a chance, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
The machinery of the state is literally designed to crush people without resources. But, and this is the key, human psychology, especially when it's confronted with pure sincerity, rarely plays out the way the state draws it up on paper.
It really doesn't. And before we unpack exactly how this incredible collision unfolds, I want to humbly welcome you to another deep dive for the Simplified Summary channel.
Yes, welcome everyone.
If you want to keep getting these rich, simplified breakdowns of classic literature, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and share your valuable thoughts in the comments. Your support allows us to keep unearthing these narratives.
It really is the fuel for this channel. And today's narrative provides plenty to dig into.
It absolutely does. We are exploring a brilliant, psychologically thrilling story named Vishwas, which translates to trust or belief. It's from Munshi Premchand's classic collection, Mansarovar Part 3. And our mission today is to figure out how the ultimate political honey trap completely backfired.
Oh, it backfires spectacularly.
It really does. We're going to see how true radical sincerity can completely dismantle a massively corrupt power structure from the inside out.
You know, Premchand is just a master at setting up these grand, imposing societal structures and then like locating the exact psychological pressure point to knock them down.
Yeah.
And the structure he sets up here in Bombay is just a fortress of opulence.
Let's set the scene for that fortress, actually.
Yeah.
We are in Bombay's high society, and right at the very center of it is Miss Joshi.
Right.
Now, ostensibly, Miss Joshi is just a simple teacher at a girls' school.
Just a teacher.
Right, but in reality, she lives in the massive former palace of the Maharaja of Satara. She just holds court there all day.
The contrast between her official, unassuming title and her actual sweeping power is just staggering.
It's wild.
She is essentially the gatekeeper to the entire province's wealth.
She completely controls the government contracts like salt, opium, liquor, iron, timber.
Wow.
Yeah, if you want to do business in Bombay, you go through Miss Joshi. If you want a title or a promotion for your nephew, you worship at her altar.
Yeah.
It's like she's the ultimate modern-day corporate lobbyist, but mixed with a glamorous movie star.
That's a great way to put it.
She holds total state capture. And everyone in the province knows the mechanism behind this power.
Okay.
Governor Johari, the guy supposedly running the show, is completely under her spell.
He is a total puppet.
Exactly. His motor car is seen leaving her mansion in the dead of night, and his every command is just an echo of her desires.
Because she has weaponized her charm, her intellect, and her social grace to achieve this total dominance. I mean, she is witty, she sings beautifully, she's highly educated, but her true genius lies in manipulation.
Right.
She understands exactly what powerful men want to hear and how to leverage their egos against them.
Okay, let's unpack this setup for a second. Why does society let this slide?
Good question.
Like, people just look the other way while a supposed school teacher effectively runs the provincial government.
Well, what's fascinating here is how Premchand illustrates the complacency of the elite.
Yeah.
Society lets it slide because the elite are actively benefiting from the corruption. I mean, they are inside her parlor eating imported Italian and Spanish sweets.
Drinking fine wines.
Exactly, and securing their own wealth. But Premchand sets up this physical manifestation of two extremes to show the true cost of that corruption. Hidden inside the palace is the ultimate material indulgence. But right outside on the lawn, the consequences of that indulgence are literally gathering.
The tension is just palpable here. Because outside Miss Joshi's mansion on this wide green grass, a massive protest is brewing. The government has just imposed a new grain tax.
Yeah.
And the working class, the farmers, the everyday people are literally starving.
It's a powder keg.
It really is. They have gathered in the thousands to protest. The armed police are there. Officers on horseback with whips are circling the crowd.
And up on the balcony, Miss Joshi and her wealthy guests are just looking down at this desperate crowd, laughing and eating delicacies.
It's so callous.
It's awful. They're treating the suffering of the masses like a spectator sport.
And then the leader of the protest arrives in a rented carriage, Enter Mr. Apte.
The man of the hour.
The crowd absolutely erupts. They worship this man. But when you look at him, he doesn't look like a king. The source describes him very carefully.
How so?
He is about 30 to 35 years old. His hair is already graying, and his face shows the deep lines of chronic worry.
Right.
He is barefoot, he wears no hat, and he's wearing a coarse, thick white kurta. And let's talk about that outfit for a second.
Yeah, that's crucial.
In this colonial-era context, a coarse, homespun white kurta isn't just a fashion choice. It's a physical symbol of renunciation.
Absolutely.
It's a direct rejection of elite materialism and a profound declaration of solidarity with the working class.
He is the physical antithesis of Miss Joshi.
Totally.
She is dripping in jewels and fine imported fabrics, and he is half naked in homespun cotton. But his power is arguably greater than hers.
Oh, for sure.
With a single word, Apte can shut down every mill in the city. He can bring the entire economy to a grinding halt.
But he strictly preaches absolute nonviolence.
Right. What's fascinating here is he represents the ultimate spiritual authority standing barefoot in the grass, directly challenging the material authority up on the balcony.
And the government is terrified of him. The source notes that officials literally wake up in cold sweats, terrified of this skinny, barefoot man.
Because they know his power comes from an uncorrupted, pure soul.
Exactly. They can't buy him off. So the match is about to be lit. Apte gets up on the stage to speak to the crowd. He looks up at the balcony. He sees the elites, the very people who just tax the food out of the mouths of the starving, laughing, and eating imported sweets. And for the first time in his life, Apte loses his cool.
It's a very human moment for someone who is usually so disciplined.
Yeah?
The sheer cruelty of the visual, the contrast between the starving masses and the laughing elites. It just pushes him over the edge of his own composure.
He gives a fiery, thunderous speech. He points directly at the balcony. He calls out the government, and he specifically takes aim at Miss Joshi.
Oh, boy.
He publicly mocks her as a teacher acting like a prostitute. He completely shreds her carefully curated reputation in front of thousands of people.
And the immediate reaction is exactly what you would expect from a threatened state apparatus. The police move in.
Of course.
The officer orders the leaders arrested. Governor Johari, who is watching from the balcony, singles out Apte and declares him the enemy of the state.
But Apte just calms the crowd, reminds them of their vow of nonviolence, and peacefully goes into police custody.
Which is such a power move.
Right. And Governor Johari is thrilled. He finally has Apte in his clutches.
Yeah.
Johari wants to charge him with sedition and send him to the Andaman Islands, the infamous Kalapani prison, for 10 years.
And for anyone unfamiliar, this wasn't just a standard jail.
No, not at all.
It was a brutal, isolated penal colony designed to psychologically break political prisoners through exile and hard labor. It was basically a death sentence for the soul.
So Johari wants to erase him from the board entirely, but this is where Miss Joshi proves why she is the true strategic power in Bombay.
Yes.
She stopped Johari and tells him that jailing Apte is a terrible idea.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second.
Yeah, please. Because someone finally stands up to her, humiliates her in public, and her first instinct is to save him from exile.
Right.
Is she playing 4D chess for the government's stability, or is her ego just massively bruised because someone finally didn't fall at her feet?
Well, it is a really potent mix of both. Her ego is certainly bruised, but her strategic mind is undeniable. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Miss Joshi understands the mechanics of power far better than the governor. She explains to Johari that if he jails Apte, he will turn him into a living martyr.
Right, which is the last thing they want.
Exactly. The movement will only grow stronger because the people will rally around his sacrifice. To kill a movement built on moral authority, you don't kill the man. You destroy his reputation.
You have to take away the halo.
Precisely. You turn him from a god into a demon in the eyes of the public.
Wow.
So she proposes a devious alternative. She tells Johari to release Apte immediately.
Just let him go.
Yeah. She promises that she will personally visit Apte, use her considerable charms to seduce him, extract his darkest, most hypocritical secrets, and expose him to the world. It's a classic honeypot trap.
And she is incredibly confident about this.
Yeah.
She tells Johari, there is no man whose heart cannot be snared by a young woman.
She really believes that.
She wants to prove that underneath that coarse white kurta, Apte is just as corrupt, lustful, and greedy as the politicians she usually deals with.
And Johari agrees. He releases Apte, hoping Miss Joshi will deliver the killing blow to the rebellion.
That decision sets the stage for one of the most remarkable psychological confrontations in literature.
It really does. We move from this grand political scheme to its highly intimate execution.
So early the next morning, Miss Joshi leaves her palace. She intentionally dresses down, wearing simple clothes with absolutely zero jewelry or makeup.
Going undercover, basically.
Exactly. She takes a rented carriage to the slum where Apte lives. And when she arrives, she is genuinely shocked by the reality of his life.
Because she expected to find a secret hypocrite.
Right.
Maybe someone hoarding wealth behind closed doors.
Right.
But instead, she finds Apte living in a tiny, bare room with a blacksmith's family.
Just total poverty.
Yeah, there's a rusty iron stove, some old books, clothes hanging on a rope. And Apte is sitting there, simply playing with a 5-year-old boy.
She walks in, acting cold and defensive, demanding to speak to him alone. She confronts him about the public insults. She plays the victim card brilliantly, saying, "I am a defenseless woman, and you, a supposed man of honor, have attacked my character with baseless lies." She demands he apologize and make it right.
And she expects an argument. That is how the men in her world operate.
Always defending their egos.
Exactly. They defend their egos at all costs. She expects him to double down, to get defensive, maybe to launch into a political debate. And that would give her the friction she needs to start manipulating him.
But Apte does the exact opposite. Instead of fighting back, he immediately, humbly apologizes.
It's so disarming.
It really is. He tells her he was blinded by his own anger and frustration. He says he actually holds deep reverence for women because he never knew his own mother, but was raised by a kind woman who took him in.
Wow.
He views women with a respect akin to how he views the gods. He tells Miss Joshi he is deeply ashamed of what he said and promises to publish a public apology in the newspapers.
She came ready for a chess match, but her opponent simply refused to place his pieces on the board.
That's exactly it.
This is the first crack in her armor. But what Apte does next completely breaks her mental model.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Apte feels so much guilt over his outburst that he misinterprets her silence. He thinks she is still judging him, so he decides to completely bare his soul.
Oh, man.
He wants to show her that he is not a saint. He looks at her and confesses his darkest secrets. He says, "I have washed dishes, I have groomed horses, I have begged for food."
And then the bombshell.
Then he drops the bombshell. He admits, "I have stolen, I've committed fraud, I actually served time in jail for theft."
Unbelievable.
He reveals his real name isn't even Apte, it's Damodar Modi. He is an escaped convict from the Nasik jail, and there is an active 500 rupee bounty on his head.
And the little boy he is playing with.
Right.
Apte explains he just found the boy lost on the street a year ago and took him in because he couldn't bear to see him alone.
So Miss Joshi is sitting there just stunned. She explicitly asks him, "Aren't you afraid I will use this to destroy you? Aren't you afraid I will turn you in for the bounty?"
And Apte just smiles.
He says, "No, I don't fear you. I trust you. If you were truly deceitful, you wouldn't have tears in your eyes right now."
This raises an important question, though. Think about how you'd react in her shoes.
Right.
You've spent your whole life treating relationships as transactions. Your entire worldview relies on the belief that everyone is fundamentally selfish and hiding something, and that your safety depends on finding those hidden flaws and leveraging them. When Apte voluntarily hands over the very weapon that could destroy him, he shatters her foundational mental model. Her brain simply cannot process this profound lack of transactional motive.
It's like he's operating as open source software.
Yes.
When all the code, including the bugs, is out there for everyone to see, you can't be blackmailed for hidden vulnerabilities.
Exactly.
He completely removes the friction she uses to control people, and without that friction, her manipulative persona just collapses.
She realizes the profound tragic irony of her life. She is the one living a lie in a palace while he is living the absolute truth in a slum. She breaks down, confesses that his original insults were entirely true, and admits she's corrupt. And in an incredibly poignant moment, she begs him not to forget her, saying he is the first person in her entire life to ever truly trust her without an ulterior motive.
And Apte doesn't judge her at all. He tells her that humans are shaped by their circumstances, and that her soul is still pure, just covered in a fog of toxic environments.
Right.
He tells her she just needs to leave that environment behind. She agrees, but makes him promise to come to her house the next evening for a party. She wants to prove her transformation.
So she leaves his house profoundly shaken, having promised to prove this transformation. But to prove it, she has to dismantle her old life in front of the very people who uphold it.
The ultimate test.
That means throwing one last massive party.
The high society trap is set, but the target has completely changed.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Joshi throws a lavish gathering at her palace. All of Bombay's elite are there, the wealthy merchants, the corrupt politicians, and Governor Johari.
The whole crew.
They are all giggling, drinking wine, waiting for Miss Joshi to spring the trap and publicly ruin Apte. They are ready for a public execution of his character.
But when Apte arrives, holding the hand of the little blacksmith's boy, the elite expect this, uneducated slum dweller to be intimidated by the crystal chandeliers and the aristocrats.
Naturally.
But Apte is totally unbothered.
Yeah.
He behaves with absolute dignity and refinement.
It's brilliant.
When they try to throw subtle insults at him, he deflects them with perfectly polite, witty responses that leave them looking foolish. He navigates their high society games effortlessly.
And while this is happening, Miss Joshi slips away into her bedroom and physically strips away her old identity.
Literally.
She takes off all her expensive silk clothes. She takes off her heavy gold jewelry, the diamonds, the pearls, and she literally kicks them away in disgust.
Wow.
She puts on a thick, coarse, plain sari, much like the one Apte wears. This isn't just a costume change. She is mirroring his renunciation.
Yeah.
And then she walks back out to her party.
Imagine the shock in that room. The queen of Bombay society walking out looking like a peasant.
You can hear a pin drop.
Governor Johari is actually grinning at first.
Oh, right. He thinks it's a bit.
Exactly. He thinks this is part of some elaborate theatrical act to mock Apte. He starts clapping.
He has no idea what's coming.
None. She stands before the stunned elite and announces, "I visited Apte's house yesterday. I went to uncover his secrets, and you have been waiting for me to expose him."
The room goes dead silent.
She tells them, "I did find out who he is. He is the traitor. He's a thief."
And the crowd gasps. Johari claps harder.
But then she delivers the twist. She says, "He is a traitor to arrogance. He's a traitor to oppression. And he is a thief who has stolen my heart and rescued my soul."
So powerful. She falls to her knees at Apte's feet, right in front of the governor and all the millionaires, begging Apte for shelter.
Amazing.
She publicly renounces her entire life of wealth and power for the shelter of a barefoot rebel. So what does this all mean? The dramatic irony is incredible, but the mechanics of it are what really blow my mind. Johari designed a honeypot trap to seduce Apte, but Apte seduced the honeypot without using power, money, or physical lust.
He offered her radical sincerity.
Yes.
She built a honeypot based on leverage. But you can only leverage someone's hidden shame.
Right.
By exposing himself, Apte bankrupts the manipulator. He offered her purity, which was the one single thing her immense wealth could not buy. By shedding her jewels, she is physically manifesting a spiritual rebirth, triggered by one act of absolute vulnerability.
But, publicly humiliating a man whose entire identity relies on absolute control guarantees of violent overcompensation.
No, Governor Johari does not just let that go.
No. A week later, Apte is back in a jail cell facing severe charges. The province is in an uproar, riots are breaking out, the police are arresting people left and right.
Chaos.
Johari is burning with a toxic mix of political rage and deeply personal jealousy.
Johari is sitting in his office late at night, just stewing. He cannot understand why Miss Joshi betrayed him.
Right.
In his mind, he gave her everything: wealth, status, power. He thinks of love transactionally, believing he bought and paid for her loyalty.
And suddenly the door opens. It's Miss Joshi.
Oh.
Johari's face lights up. He thinks she has come crawling back, realizing she needs his protection.
Of course he does.
He tries to play the magnanimous overlord, telling her he will take her back, but he makes it very clear that he holds Apte's life in his hands.
The leverage again.
Always the leverage. He threatens to hang Apte or send him away to the Kalapani for life unless she submits. He is trying to force her compliance through pure terror.
Because he assumes she is still the woman who values security and comfort above all else.
Exactly. But Miss Joshi doesn't argue. She doesn't plead. She simply reaches into her coarse sari, pulls out a pistol, and aims it directly at Governor Johari's chest.
Wow.
She looks him dead in the eye and says, "If you do not drop the charges and release my husband, you will die first and I will follow him."
She is absolutely calm.
Absolutely resolved.
It is the ultimate shift in power dynamics. And this is where Johari's reaction reveals the depth of Premchand's understanding of power.
How so?
Johari doesn't panic. He doesn't call for the guards. He looks at the pistol. He looks at the woman he thought he owned, and he smiles.
Why? Why does a man whose life is being threatened smile at the gun pointed at his heart?
Because this smile is the crux of the whole narrative. It's not just a bad guy realizing he lost the girl.
Right.
Johari is a man realizing that his primary currency power, money, leverage, is suddenly subject to hyperinflation.
Oh, that's good.
He thought he bought her loyalty. But looking at that gun, he recognizes that radical sincerity operates on a gold standard he has absolutely no access to.
Wow.
He realizes that in all their years together, with all the millions of rupees he showered on her, she never would have had this kind of courage or self-sacrificing love for him.
He's staring at a market crash of his own ego.
Exactly.
He sees the absolute conviction in her eyes and recognizes he has been entirely defeated in the realm of the human soul.
And Johari concedes.
He does.
He drops the charges against Apte. He admits defeat to her face, noting that a truly sincere person can change a life and awaken a soul in a single meeting.
Yeah.
He even graciously predicts that she will soon be the lady of Apte's house.
He realizes that the game of manipulation and leverage he has played his whole life is ultimately powerless against someone who is willing to lose everything for the truth.
Right.
Apte didn't defeat the governor with a larger army or a cleverer political scheme. He defeated him by being so radically honest that it infected the governor's most powerful weapon, Miss Joshi herself.
When you refuse to play the game falls apart.
It perfectly encapsulates the core message of Premchand's story. Society constantly tells us that power comes from hoarding wealth, building leverage, and manipulating outcomes.
Yeah, we are taught to build walls and project strength.
But Vishwas shows us that absolute radical sincerity, the willingness to be completely seen, flaws and all, is an unstoppable force, because manipulative power structures run purely on the currency of hidden shame.
That's beautifully said.
Which brings me to a final provocative thought for you to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
Let's hear it.
We spend so much of our lives, especially today, in an age of constant curation, trying to hide our flaws. We bury our past mistakes so people can't use them against us.
Right. Everyone does it.
We build these perfect little fortresses of reputation. But think about Apte. What if the ultimate invincibility isn't having a perfect record?
Yeah.
What if true invincibility is simply having absolutely nothing left to hide? If you handed your enemies all your secrets voluntarily, how would that change the way you face your biggest critics?
It's a terrifying thought, honestly, but a deeply liberating one.
Yeah.
When you remove the hidden vulnerabilities, you bankrupt the manipulators before they can even make a move.
You have nothing to fear when there is nothing left to expose.
Exactly.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this journey into classic literature and the mechanics of power, please remember to subscribe to the Simplified Summary channel.
Yes, definitely subscribe.
Drop a like on this video and share your valuable comments below. What story should we summarize next? Let us know.
We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep reading.